See, what's deep in our society is that we fill our lives up with stuff. We say I'm okay when I'm not okay. We mask our insecurities by people pleasing. And maybe we think that if we want something done, we have to do it ourselves. I think about the time in my life when I became one of the fastest men in the world. And a lot of people ask me, hey, Charles, like, why aren't you coaching track and field? And my answer is really simple. It's because the mind is the most powerful thing that we possess. The mind is like the strongest muscle that we can train. If we can master our mind, we can handle and accomplish nearly anything. Why? Because the mind is so powerful. The mind affects our thoughts, and thoughts affect our habits. Habits create our lifestyle. And even what we say to ourselves impacts how we feel about ourselves. Have you ever told yourself, I'm not worthy? Have you ever told yourself, I'm not good enough? Have you ever told yourself, people wouldn't love me if they truly knew me? See, these words aren't just an expression, but they're manifestation for how we live our life. It's just this idea that we have to understand that words aren't just words, y'all. Words build the psychology of how we feel about ourselves, the mindset of how we handle adversity. See, I didn't really understand this concept of becoming mentally tough and understanding my wellness until I was dealing with my own challenges. See, after I became a 10-time All-American and a 3-time national champion, I make the USA track and field team, and I'm 14 days away from the biggest moment of my life. I make the USA track and field team, and I'm headed to Germany for a tune-up race, and I experienced a hamstring injury. I'm talking 14 days away from the biggest moment of my life, the moment that I dreamed of, the moment that I always thought about to make something of myself, to make my family proud. But I experienced this injury. And my coach, he calls me. He says, hey, Charles, how bad is the injury? And I said, Coach, honestly, I don't even know. And he says, you think you're going to be able to bounce back in a short amount of time? And I'm like, Coach, I don't know. And he says to me, Charles, well, I want to let you know, the USA track and field team, they called me and they wanted to let you know that they want you to give it your spot to someone who's more physically able than you are. But I knew, for me, I didn't train 11 years of my life. I didn't travel 1,000 miles across this country just to be like, better luck next year. I had a real passion to make something of myself. And it was greater than the excuses and the complaints that most people give into. So I told my coach, I was like, Coach, nah, I can't do that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm like literally traveling with a messed up hamstring to Stuttgart, Germany, where my training facility was located. And the thing about adversity is you just can't pretend like it didn't happen. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us experienced COVID. So if you ever cough around me during that time, you can't cough around me and get away with it. You're gonna have to wear your mask. You're gonna have to make some adjustments around me. And it's the same way with adversity. You're going to have to set some changes in your life. And so we put together a rehab program, and we're icing, I'm stretching, I'm seeing my physiologist. I'm working on myself every single chance that I could. Come race day, nobody knew, is Charles going to suit up or not? But I already made up in my mind, y'all. I'm going to make the best out of this situation. First round of 200-meter dash, I'll make it through to the second round. Second round of the 200-meter dash, I'll make it through to the third round. Third round of 200-meter dash, I make it through to the finals. And in the final fourth round, I end up earning the title as the 6th fastest man in the world. And in that moment, I learned something that was so powerful. Like when you use your circumstances as character-building moments, you gain the capacity needed to handle the magnitude of your responsibility. But the other thing that I began to understand is that I'm used to this type of adversity. I'm used to the type of adversity where you must be relentless, lose sight of anything that is not significant to achieve a set outcome. But the thing that I was getting ready to experience next, it was going to require some introspective. It was going to require for me to look deep within my soul. Because after I became the 6th fastest man in the world, I had a devastating injury. And I found myself being rushed in the ambulance to the hospital, hooked up to IVs and heart monitors as the doctors were trying to figure out what's going on with me. I stayed overnight. They still couldn't figure out what was going on. So they sent me home with a portable heart monitor to further diagnose what the case was for me. And when they sent those results in, They said, Charles, there's nothing wrong with you. And I'm like, no, you got to be crazy, because these uncontrollable heart palpitations that I feel, this is not right. But the more I began to experience these things, I began to understand it was a thing called panic attacks. And I'm not even gonna lie, I would pretend like that was okay. My friends would ask me if I'm okay, and I would say I'm okay. But they really understood there was some serious stuff going wrong with me, because tears would flow down my face and I didn't even realize it. And maybe I want to just take a little moment to give a quick PSA announcement. You know, like, if there's something wrong with you, if there's something that you're dealing with that's really hard for you to face, it's okay to talk with somebody about it. It's okay to get a counselor. It's okay to work on yourself to improve the quality of your life. That's what I truly believe. Because when you avoid self-care, those dreams that you have, they become capsized by the small problems that we ignored in our lives. And that becomes our kryptonite. And every single one of us knows what happens to us when kryptonite is near us, yes? Even though it's Superman's obligation and duty to protect and defend, he cannot. His powers are useless. And in the same way, if you aren't mentally healthy, you can't be mentally strong.